Steven Crowder has been really lost, I think.
Yeah.
For a while now, and I don't know how things are going with his new business enterprise, but I feel like when you've got to have full-on fascists come onto your show, yeah, you may be like feeling a little bit like desperate. Here is Steven Crowder speaking with British politician Nigel Farage. Are they going to go into how well Brexit working out, or what?
I think he just sort of revived his political career, Farage. Now he's like running for parliament again.
Oh, wow.
So maybe a big get for Stephen, actually.
But yeah, when you think about it, okay, fine, sure, nation of immigrants. But people came here at one point, whether it's the Irish.
Pause it. I should just say, of course, this is going to be an extremely manly conversation because they both have cigars.
Ooh, and a lumberjack shirt for
yeah, he's
Steven.
trying to really butch it up.
Gotta perform your gender, baby.
I would just point out that Farage represents a monarchy and Crowder's supposed to represent a republic. But anyway.
Caffeinated when you put it in context. So imagine what they would have done. But yeah, when you think about it, okay, fine, sure, nation of immigrants. But people came here at one point, whether it's the Irish, Jews from Europe at one point in time, Italians, right? They came here with a promise of nothing. It was a risk that they were taking to try and build a life that's very different from a country that has.
What about the Chinese? Like there was like just going to go through various semi-white people who made it into white, like.
Also not true remotely, but if you look at the type of materials that were used to recruit people to make the voyage from Europe to America, it was all, look at all this farmland we'll give you if you're European.
100%.
Yeah.
Look at all the opportunity. It wasn't because I get promised nothing, so I'm going to uproot myself from my entire family and continent and go try my luck in America.
Right.
Irish, Jews from Europe at one point in time, Italians, right? They came here with a promise of nothing. It was a risk that they were taking to try and build a life that's very different from a country that has a welfare state where people are coming to benefit from that social safety net.
So, Milton Friedman, the high priest of free markets. And people say to me, but Nigel, how can you want to limit immigration if you believe in free markets? Even Milton Friedman said, you cannot have the free movement of peoples around the world, all the while you have a social security system.
Right. That's exactly right.
Exactly right.
Well, that's why when you say you're a libertarian, I remember spending quite a bit of time in D.C. and had a lot of friends who worked, for example, at Reason magazine, and they believed in open borders. They believed that borders are just kind of it's sort of an antiquated idea, and many of them ended up voting for Obama, which surprised me, where I said, oh, okay, so if libertarian in the States means it can include at one point in time, Glenn Beck, Greg Gutfeld, and Bill Maher, I was like, this doesn't really mean anything. So I would tend to be considered more libertarian, but I just say conservative.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm libertarian in the sense, I do not want the government telling me whether I can smoke a cigarette in a local pub. I don't want government telling me whether I can hunt foxes at weekends. If that's what I want to do, if that's my thing, I should be allowed to do it. And I think, during the pandemic, we reached a level of government control we'd never seen even in wartime.
It's true.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really was.
Pause it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of real stupidity in here. I'm a libertarian, except for when it means that it's going to interfere with my racism or xenophobia. But I sort of feel like at wartime, we actually have seen some pretty serious restrictions. I mean, I can't speak about the British, but I seem to remember if you were Japanese during World War II, it wasn't just you were forced to wear a mask. You were forced to actually go into concentration camps.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure Crowder will bring that up.
Or if you were a troop under George Washington, you had to get vaccinated.
I mean, things like that. Things like that.
I mean, my family story is this idea that, we can't do immigration now that there's a social safety net. My family came to North Dakota not because of North Dakota, just the weather. It was because they were given land under the Homestead Act within walking distance of where Sitting Bull gave himself up to authorities in northwestern North Dakota. That was quite a nice safety net. You can just have some land.
But you weren't able to go into the local doctor with your Medicaid card, right?
Right.
In what was that, like 18 what?
Like 1906.
I mean, That's the thing. They didn't have, and of course, we didn't have Social Security at that time. There was welfare. It just, it was called land. That was basically it. Idiots.
Yeah,
We'd never seen even in wartime.
it's true.
It's unbelievable.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it really was.
You know, not even in World War II did government limit people's lives like that.
Have you seen the awakening in the UK, in Europe, that we've seen in the
pause it.
United States? Because I will tell you.
What's that thing where they make you go to war?
The draft.
The draft.
Right. Okay. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Does that limit somebody's life when you're a male of a certain age, and if you don't have the money or the connections to get out of it, you're going to be sent overseas to fight a war?
What's that thing where they say, we're going to give you tickets and you're going to be able to get this amount of sugar or this amount of butter?
Yeah. You know what's
Rationing. We had rationing during World War II. I imagine they had it in Britain as well.
Well, speaking of World War II, I don't know if Farage knows anything about this, but at the end of World War II, the British people voted Winston Churchill out and started the National Health Service.
No way.
People's lives like
Have
that.
you seen the awakening in the UK, in Europe, that we've seen in the United States? Because I will tell you, I've not seen more people have the veil lifted who are apolitical or who are liberal than COVID. I mean, moms with children in schools. But I come from Canada. I was raised where a lot of my friends back home, they still don't get it. In America, people get it. Is it the same thing in the UK where a lot of people?
I think something very, as I say, I was the first lockdown I could live with. You know, I saw the scenes in Milan, and I thought, wow, is this the 1919 flu? I think we all did. We all did. I didn't mind locking down for a couple of weeks.
I was the only one who didn't.
No, I was okay with that. Let's find out what it is.
Yeah.
All right? Let's find out what it is.
Pause it
But
real
after
quick.
that, the second-
Crowder, when he says, like, I'm the only one who don't think it is, Crowder was predicting that there would be similar amount of death as the typical flu. So that is what he thought, just to put it.
Missed it by
Recap.
that much.
out what it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's find out what it is. But after that, the second lockdown, I thought was, I mean, quite frankly, by second and third lockdowns, I just ignored it completely. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
I could drive down the motorway fast. There were no cars on the road.
Right, yeah.
Can you pause it?
Well, we did.
So, okay, we're talking about
First
the
of all,
level.
we didn't have a second lockdown.
Yeah, but okay, but he's contradicting his own thesis in his statement there that we've never seen such an authoritarian crackdown on liberties since COVID. And he's saying, but though, that he had the ability to disregard it and drive around and do whatever the hell that he wanted. That's a little bit different than people who were, say, forced to serve in Vietnam, or Japanese people who were forced to go into internment camps in this country against their will.
Or even like what China did to
I mean,
react to COVID.
right. But anyway.
When that happened, that's where we did the Mug Club Quarantine Month, was our biggest month of growth. The very first lockdown, everyone was in there, including conservatives, in their basement. We said we're doing 2-a-days. We did 2 shows a day because I knew people were locked at home. And I can't tell you how many conservatives whose names I won't provide right now call me saying, this is really irresponsible. You shouldn't be running the crew. I'm like, well, guess what? They all decided they want to work. They saw the ride. They bought a ticket anyway. But do you
Pause it for a
think that in
second.
the
I'm
UK...
sorry.
Big con.
We haven't talked about Steven Crowder for a long time. Is this the guy who is suing all of his ex-employees to shut up and not tell stories? And the guy who was all sorts of leaks about how poorly he treated his workers? Is that the same guy, or am I mistaken?
Big Tech is in bed with Big Con.
Yes. The guy that allegedly couldn't stop putting his testicles onto his employees.
That's what's been reported.
Yeah, well.
Want to work. They saw the ride. They bought a ticket anyway. But do you think that in the UK there has been that foundational shift where people realize that they were lied to?
We've woken up. We've woken up on the fact we were lied to. The other thing, and I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this, as some people have done, but there can be little doubt that some of the vaccines that were produced just weren't vaccines. Mm-hmm. And I remember, and I had the first 2. I had the first 2. You know why?
Oh, no.
You know why? I wanted to come to America. All right. You know, this is my 4th trip here this year already.
Right.
So I'm in America. 7, 8, 9, 10 times a year.
I guess being in America with a 3rd nipple is better than not being able to.
So I had the first 2. And then it came to the booster. And I did it on my TV show. I said, right, I'm going to debate over the next week whether I should have the booster. And I was being texted. I was being emailed.
I don't even want to
letters.
hear this anymore. This is so stupid. So stupid. What is he saying? That the after I took the first two, the third one had the 3G technology.
Yeah, who cares, you moron?
So dumb. So dumb.
But that's a conspiracy theory that you often hear about vaccines, is that they were placebos for some people in order to test out something or other. I don't know, but
What is this one?
I'd have to look further into it, but I remember vaguely reading about it before our conversation last week with Debunk the Funk Dr. Dan Wilson, that there's some anti-vax conspiracy theories that they were actually placebos or something to that effect. So it sounds like he did go down the rabbit hole. Let's be real.
I mean, he knows that the people he's appealing to are insane on this, and so that's why you have to do this. Yeah, no, I got the first two, but then I got Ys.
And I love Crowder, who's like, well, all right, well, you know, this was a bio weapon, but it's okay if you needed it to get into the country.
Yeah.
It's just, they're so insane. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.